friends, welcome back to Sandals and Steel Toes. My name is Lex and welcome to my very empty garden. So the last garden tour I did was I think back in August, and that's when the garden was at its full peak and looking beautiful. And since then we have been busy with school, kids have gone back to school, work has gotten busy again, and thought today would be a good day for an impromptu garden tour because you guys haven't seen it for a long time. I do post updates pretty regularly on Instagram, so if you are missing content or want to see how things are doing, please go ahead and follow me on Instagram at Sandals and Steel Toes. Today is November 12th in Northeast Ohio, Zone 6A. My area specifically is known as being part of the Lake Erie snowbelt. So by this time of year, it's pretty cold. We usually have snow, a couple flurries by now, but this year, just like everything else, has been unpredictable, and we have actually had really warm and lovely temperature weather. I'm not quite sure where fall went because we had summer again. So today I'm just going to show you what's going on in the garden. There are a couple cool new changes, but mostly it's pretty empty as we are moving into late fall and soon to be winter. So thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get started. So this is my winter low tunnel. We have some frost fabric on, and then on top of that I have a layer of plastic, just like painter's plastic. And it is 47 degrees outside today. We had a really warm week, and temperatures just started to go back down to more typical for this time of year. So I got the plastic put on, and I just checked in here to see what the temperature is like, just so it wasn't too hot, and it feels so cozy and warm in here right now. Like, I want to come and sit in here because of how cozy it is. Nothing's wilting. I don't know the exact temperature, but I would guess somewhere in the 70s in here today, and everything looks really happy and perky. So it looks like they like it, and light seems to not be an issue. That's something I was worried about. The plastic I'm using is kind of thick, but it's fairly bright in here, so I think the light is good. But I got Swiss chard growing, various kinds of lettuces, some romaines. You can see my garlic is planted along in here too, a bunch of it. And different kinds of, that's either broccoli or cauliflower, I'm not sure. And a bunch of red cabbage. Down there is some broccoli or cauliflower. More romaine lettuces over here. And way down there is like winter Landis lettuce, endive, and more chard. So this is my little experiment for my winter growing, and so far it seems to be doing really well, so I'm happy with this. Now if it gets if we get any higher temperature during the daytime, I would say probably above 50, between 50 and 60. These, I'm gonna roll up the ends on each side just to get some airflow, but I think for today and today's temperatures, we're good, and everything looks really happy. I want to hang out in here. It feels so warm. Nice. I'm gonna close that back up, put the plastic back on top, and here's my other bed of garlic there that's not covered, which is fine, it doesn't need to be. Now the test will be, what does this do when it snows? So I'm gonna show you also just what we got going on in this bed here. I planted this row here, I think it was sometime in August, like August 8th, for winter crops, varieties of carrots and beets and rutabaga and turnip. And so I harvested a couple carrots last night, They're still fairly small, so just gonna kind of keep letting those grow. And we have a really nice leaf mulch in here that volunteered from my maple trees, and it just all blew in here, and I left it because keeping things insulated. But we got beets growing. A lot of the beets are probably ready to start being harvested. These are the Egyptian Crosby beets. That one's starting to get a nice root on it. And then these lovely carrots. I don't want to pull it out yet. What are these? I can't find my marker. Some kind of carrot. I think it might be the black carrots in here, which would make sense with the color of the leaves. I'll have to go back and find. But aren't these really beautiful? The way these carrot greens are growing. In here, oh yeah, and I have a volunteer pea plant growing in here. This is one of my spring peas that must have gotten in the compost, and then when I put it in here, the compost down, it grew that. So I just left that there. In this row is supposed to be where some rutabagas were. They had a hard time getting started. I'm not sure that I'm gonna get rutabagas out of this batch, but I have more growing in there, so I think those will do better. And then this one are turnips, the purple American top turnips, and these are really nice. There are a lot in here. I need to start harvesting them. They're getting really big. But yeah, this whole thing is just full of really great looking turnips. So this is the first time I've ever grown turnips, and with how well they're doing, I will definitely grow them again. I just need to figure out a couple more different kinds of ways to cook them, and ways that my family likes, because they do have a little bit of a bite to them. When they're raw, when they're cooked, it's a little bit better flavor. I actually cut one up last night and put it in with chicken pot pie that I made, and the flavor was great. And then I have just another kind of variety of carrot here. Okay, this is the Aceta black carrot. So I don't remember what that other one was, but I pulled up one of these last night, still very small, so I need to give those some more time to get bigger. And then in this empty space here is where I had black radishes growing. I did harvest all of the ones that were mature, and I have fermented those. But I did sow more seeds, and they're coming up in various places. It's still pretty little, but hoping that maybe I can get a couple more radishes before it gets too cold for them to grow. The garden is very bare, as you can tell. I mean, this is where I had all of my tomatoes growing, and the peppers were up there. All that's been pulled out. I have raked everything, leaf mulch all over to keep it covered over winter. But we have plenty of lovely marigolds that are very big and vibrant, which are continuing to give us some nice garden color. But yeah, everything is pretty well spent at this point. You can see the zinnias have all died back now with the cold nights we've been having. If it weren't for all the marigolds, everything would be pretty brown in here. But yeah, if you want long color into the fall, I would totally suggest marigolds. They've been doing great with the cold weather, so it's really nice to have some fall color to look forward to. And then over here on these three fences are peas. They have really pretty, beautiful purple flowers. Look at those. Really many pea pods yet, but hopefully they will soon. This variety of pea is frost hardy. They really like the cold, so I'm hoping to get some pods here soon. And having to teach these guys how to climb the fence because they just like to go wherever. Oh, here we go. Yeah, that was really big. But these are really, really lovely. That's a big pea pod too. Look how big that is. I have like a normal size hand. Aw, my garden kitty. Hi, baby. But yeah, these flowers. Really nice. Fall color mixed in with all the drab brown and stuff that's died back. Over here I had an experiment with some tomato suckers that I had rooted in the house during the summer, and then I planted them out here, I don't know, sometime in August as an experiment to see if they would grow. Surprisingly enough, it is November 12th in Northeast Ohio, Zone 6A, and these tomato plants have not died back yet. We haven't even had a hard frost. Some memories that came up on my Facebook timeline from today a couple years ago is that actually last year we had snow today, and then you know, I always remember around between the 10th and 12th of November us having snow. But not this year. We haven't had a big snow. We haven't had snow yet. So these tomato plants are still trying to live. Oh my gosh! I didn't even know I had tomatoes on here. Look at that! I have green tomatoes on November 12th in Northeast Ohio on the snowbelt. That is amazing. Wow, I wasn't expecting to see those. Here, if this one that's all grown up in the marigolds has any. No, I don't see any. Some little flower buds. So, you know, there was hope for these little guys after all. As far as things that are growing, actively growing, you know, that's about it. Not a whole lot. I've got a random carrot plant that's growing there. This is where I had carrots in the spring, so something must have just got left and started growing again. A nasturtium that's still hanging on. And over here too. I put some chard seeds in here to see if they would grow, and looks like I've got one, oh, two. So we might get some chard growing there. I still have the Brussels sprout plants that I've been growing all year. Never was able to harvest anything because of how bad the cabbage worms were on them. So I've just left it. I don't really know what I'm gonna do with them. I mean, I'm still getting little Brussels sprouts that are growing up at the top. So I'm considering just leaving them to see what happens, because the cabbage worms have gone away now. It's too cold. So I'm just not sure what I want to do with them yet. But I mean, all the ones Brussels sprouts that I left on, they've like blossomed and forming new leaves, but I've got all these little babies coming up. So as of now, I'm just leaving them because it's not hurting anything. The asparagus ferns have all turned brown. I've cut a bunch of them back. And the little seed pods that grow on these, you can see what those look like. They're like little red berries. I will trim these down one day. Surprisingly, my pepper plants, these are banana peppers, they're not producing anything anymore. sad pepper. But the plant themselves has not died. It just, like I said, hasn't been, haven't gotten like a real hard frost yet. So they're still alive. I've been considering saving them over winter, but I wasn't really happy with what these plants produced this year, especially these banana peppers. They didn't do well. So I don't know if I really even want this variety again. But in this bed, I do have, I believe that's a red cabbage. And there was one there. So when I started a bunch of seeds all in here, I transplanted most of them into my low tunnel, but I kept a couple things just kind of to see how they would do. That's one of them. And then, over here in the kids' garden space, we have a bunch of carrots. Those are just little bite-sized orange carrots, and we harvested a bunch of those last night for our pot pie, and those are good. We're just gonna take those as we need. But yeah, this is what a fall garden looks like in November. I've got some decorative corn stalks. My Wilma pig, she's got kale growing for the winter, so that's looking pretty nice. Just a red kale and a baby nasturtium coming up. So good Wilma pig. I don't know. The animals want to go in the warm tent. This is what we got going on. And this tunnel is about like 13 feet long. Something like that. I didn't really measure it well. But it's around those. The last thing I wanted to show, forgot. So in this space here, you can see where it's just kind of like fresh mulch that's been laid down. This is all leaf mulch. All of these beautiful maple trees that we have, they drop tons of leaves, and we hauled most of them back here, and I mowed them down, and this is what we have left. So my plan was to kill the grass so that way we can plant in here next year, but I'm already seeing grass peeking through where it's not quite thick enough, and I'm actually seeing that in several spaces. So I'm assuming that this leaf mulch is not thick enough to kill the grass everywhere. You can see a big patch right there of grass coming up. So what I had also considered doing is calling one of like the local tree arborist companies and getting a load of mulch wood chips to dump on here and spread it out, which I think I'm gonna have to do because yeah, it's not covered enough. And I would like to plant in this next year. Do a little bit of an expansion here. But all in all, we had a really good gardening season this year. I'm really pleased with how everything grew. It is a little sad to see the garden so bare right now, but it's not completely bare. The marigolds really make up for it, and all of the fall crops that I have, and even that structure there just makes it look not quite so empty. I'm definitely ready for the break, and very happy with just how everything's turned out. So there you have it. That's the garden. Not a whole lot to be excited about, except for the fact that we are growing food in November in Ohio, where it's usually really cold. So again, it's been a little bit of a different year. Definitely new to me growing this late in the year. I've never tried it before, but so far I'm liking the experience. As we move on into the winter months and a little bit less of the gardening life to show, I've had a couple of ideas, content to create, and hopefully meet my personal goal of making 50 videos this year. That was nothing I had announced before, but my goal for this year was to make 50 YouTube videos, and I'm really close, so I need a little bit over a month to meet my goal. And so I really appreciate you coming and checking out the garden today and watching our adventure unfold into moving into more of a homesteading lifestyle. I really do appreciate, you know, everyone that has tuned into my channel this year and continue to show support. I will check you all on the next video. Thank you so much. Happy gardening. Bye.